Hi, good morning, guys. My name is Mohit Ramani, and I'm the founder and CEO of Digital Agents and Exposim. I would like this conversation to be very interactive, so we could use the chat to send messages. And if there is a question, we could just raise hands, and we will allow you to unmute yourself. Let's see how that works. I think there's some settings issues. Yes, guys, the chat is now enabled. So yeah, just send me a message like what are you guys doing? Are you into are you in college? Are you okay, great job, marketing student. So I see lots of young folks and aspiring entrepreneur. That's good. That's good. So it's great to see everyone. I think we are today going to speak about something very exciting, which is the metaverse. And then we're going to specifically talk about metaverse for enterprises and what is in there for enterprises, like how do they make the best use of metaverse. And of course there are underlying things that we need to know to understand the metaverse better, so we'll go through that. uh, and then we'll see some use cases of metaverse. Let's get on with the presentation. I've prepared a small presentation just for everybody's understanding. Yeah, let's start. So my name is Mohit Ramani. As I mentioned, I am founder of two companies, a digital agents and Exposim. Digital Agents is, it was founded in 2013, where we help enterprises leverage metaverse technologies for improving their sales, training, and MRO. We've been working with defense, manufacturing, education, retail, and automotive sectors for these last 8 years. We work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies who have wanted to explore and leverage these technologies for various functions, as I mentioned, and we've been fairly successful over there. And while offering these solutions in 2020, when the pandemic hit, everybody might have seen a lot of events, almost all of the events got cancelled, public events, and we saw an era of virtual events. And that's where we also incepted the idea of Exposim. What Exposim currently is, it's a virtual and hybrid events management platform where we have hosted 175, more than 175 events. We've had more than 150,000 attendees who have attended events on Exposim. And what we're currently doing is we're building a metaverse of events. So we are enhancing the capabilities of Exposim and making it more immersive for people to come in, have a better experience. So let's understand what is the metaverse. But before we do that, let's also understand what metaverse is not, because it's a new term. A lot of confusion is there around in people what exactly is metaverse. But it's also important to understand what it is not. And metaverse is not just AR, VR, or 3D worlds, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest confusion that people have. People think that if it's a virtual world, if it's a game, it's a metaverse. No, it's not just that. There are a lot more to the metaverse. And in order to do that, in order to understand what metaverse is, let's go through what are the underlying layers of metaverse. So blockchain, I mean, first and foremost is blockchain. I hope, I mean, everybody have heard about blockchain, and it's fairly old terminology today. It's been almost 10 years since the blockchain was invented by Satoshi, as you would know, the person who nobody really knows who is. So blockchain is the fundamental layer on top of which a metaverse or any metaverse for that matter is built. In very simple terms, it's a distributed network to store critical data about ownership of some content or of something. I mean, some entity. It could be a physical entity, like a vehicle. It could be money, which Bitcoin was basically built for initially, or it could be properties or contracts. So which Ethereum was built. So you can type in questions if you have any, right, so that I could be more focused towards specific areas. But I mean, I'm guessing blockchain is something that everybody would be aware of. So that's very, very important to understand that every metaverse is built on top of a blockchain. The second most important thing to understand is Web3. Again, it's a new term. Lots of confusion. People think if it's a 3D web application, it's a Web3 application. No, it's not. Web3 in itself is not a technology. Blockchain is a technology, but Web3 is not a technology. It's an idea. It's a concept. Now, the idea behind Web3 is, to have an internet. So you know how current internets are, right? We have in data, we have information all over the world, and information is getting generated, and then companies like Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they have their data centers where they collect all these information, and then they circulate and they distribute it between the people, the so-called search engines. And that's how information reaches us, right? And that's the essence of Web 2. But what Web 3 is, most importantly, it's a peer-to-peer network, right? There's no central Google or Microsoft or Yahoo. And why is it important? Because that makes that makes for the authenticity of the content. At least we know that Google or Microsoft or Yahoo is not manipulating the content for us, which you might have heard. In the last few years, we have seen many stories where, if I like something and if I search for a certain keyword, I would get a certain different result, whereas my friend who's probably living next door, and based on his interest, he or she sees completely different information. While it is good, it's a really good thing. It's an intelligent internet, but it also at times, they can manipulate the data, and that is the essence of having a peer-to-peer network where the manipulation does not happen. Yes, it is intelligent. Web3 is going to be very intelligent. It is artificially intelligent. I mean, it's AI driven completely based on what I like, what my interests are. It'll produce results, but it'll not manipulate it. That's the reason for the advent of Web3. As I said, it's distributed. The interface, right, of Web3 is more 3D than 2D. Our current web is all 2D. You see pages, you see information in the form of images, text. But Web3 will be more virtual, more immersive, right? And so yeah, so that's very important. Also, Web3 is going to be more contextual. Like I said, people would be able to get information what they are looking for or what they search for, which is also happening in Web 2. But Web 3, the essence of it is going to be that. Yeah. So it's important that we understand the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. Moving on, the next most important concept of that is used is NFT. Again, we would know, most of us would know what the NFT is as a full form. It's a non-fungible token. But what essentially is it, right? Can I get some, something in the chat? Like, let's see what people know about NFT. Can we? Because it's not. I want to make the session interactive, right? I don't want me to be speaking. So let's see. Okay, it's non-transferable. Yes, it's a programmable art. Not just that, it's a non-replaceable token. Yes, unique. Yes. What else? What else do we know about NFT? It's a digital asset. Okay. No idea. It's an equivalent to share held by. Okay, fair. Yeah. So I think most of it is correct. Right. And but it's not basically just for art. It's for anything. It's for anything that is unique, right? It's somebody mentions like a share. It could be, but it's something more. Yeah, it's a share is like, you could have a unique share. Yes, it's sort of a share which is built on, which is on top of blockchain. Yes. And why blockchain is because blockchain is very, very secure. And it's non-fungible, which means that there can be only single ownership. Yes, it is definitely used. It's very important for collectibles and art. It's one of the largest use case today, because earlier days, how would you know the Mona Lisa is unique, right? It's just on the basis of somebody saying, it's placed in a museum in Paris, and they say that it's the original Mona Lisa, and we have to believe it. right? And we're just believing in people that what if all we know is that Mona Lisa is not unique, and that's not the original one, because there's so many similar looking Mona Lisas all around the world. So that's why it is very very useful in art. Though having said that, it's more used for digital assets than physical assets, because to link, like I said, if a Mona Lisa can be duplicated in real world, then again the essence of having a virtual integration with a physical Mona Lisa would be very very difficult. But if we are able to find a way to insert a certain code inside the physical Mona Lisa, right? And if we are able to put that code on blockchain, then it becomes a unique NFT of a physical Mona Lisa as well. And there are ways, but primarily digital assets. Yes, it's NFTs are used for, and it has a huge application in the gaming and the metaverse world. And how exactly that happens is, if let's say we have we're playing a game, and there is a character, and there's only one or two different, two unique characters around, in the entire metaverse. And if nobody is able to make a duplicate character like that, then it became, and that is where NFTs start coming into picture. For arts, it's, we all understand, but what is the application in a metaverse is what I'm going to be focusing more on, right? So imagine, I mean, yeah, let me just move on a bit, and I'll come to that, the use case on metaverse. So these are three very important concepts of that are used in metaverse. So let's understand. We've seen blockchain, we've seen NFT, and we've seen you know yeah, we've seen these three technologies and Web3. So what exactly is now metaverse? So it's a virtual world. You can say that it's a virtual world that can be accessed on web, AR or VR. So web, AR, VR are just interfaces through which we access a virtual world. So it's not, again, like I said, web metaverse is not AR or VR. It can only be accessed via AR and VR. Secondly, it's built on web technology, on blockchain technology. It's a peer-to-peer network. It's a peer-to. I mean, we can have interactions just like how we are having interactions inside a metaverse. The transactions happen through NFT. So the most important concept of a metaverse is the concept of scarcity. A metaverse is not an infinite world; it's a finite world. Just like a real world, it's a finite place. There is a certain amount of land available. There's a certain amount of characters available, certain amount of money available, right? And all of that, people work together in utilizing and making the best use of those resources, and that builds up the metaverse. It has its own unique economics and engagement rule. That's very important. We live in a world where we're divided by countries. Each country has its own sets of economic rules, and engagement rules. Similarly, a metaverse will have its own economics, will have its own engagement rules. And it will be defined by a creator, and how engaging those rules are, or how good that economy is for each of its stakeholder, will define the how much that metaverse is being leveraged by people, I would say. In how many ways transaction can happen in metaverse? See, there are many ways, and we might go through a few of them. But yes, NFT is, and the transactions through NFT is the most useful way to transact inside metaverse. Every transaction that happens, if it happens via an NFT, then it makes that transaction unique. And as long as it is happening through NFT, we know that that particular element is an infinite element, and that's the value. See, let me come back to it shortly. Let me just explain what metaverse is. So in summary, we can say that metaverse is a parallel universe. It's a digital universe, but it's a parallel universe. It has its own rules and engagements and economics, and activities that a person can do. Now, just like in a physical universe, there are, stakeholders, there are owners, and why we are here in a in like, I own something. I own a company, right? I am working towards building solutions for my customers to make money. Similarly, and I'm providing these services, right? Similarly, inside a metaverse, the stakeholders are people who would own some or the other element of that world, and there will be other stakeholders who would come and utilize it, right? Now, for instance, if I make a metaverse, if I'm making a metaverse for events, right? Exposim. Um, Imagine if there is a company, let's say Yahoo, they want to do an event in my metaverse, in the the events metaverse. Now they want to come and they want to organize an event, but they don't have a land, they don't own anything inside, they don't know anything. They could also rent it. So the people who would own something inside that metaverse will get money against renting it to Yahoo. That's the essence. That's the economic rules inside a metaverse that we are building. And of course, there are many different rules that happen. So I've got another question, which not other tokens. How many ways transactions can happen? Like I said, many ways. It could be, it depends on us. If it's just a AR, VR, 3D world, then transaction could happen in via Paytm also. But when we are saying that it's a blockchain based metaverse, then it will only happen through tokens and NFTs. Can one form their own universe within the metaverse? Well, you cannot form your own universe, but you can form your own. You can build your own community, right? So it's just like a real world. Today we are having, we are what, 50 people right now, sitting on this call. We could have the same call inside a metaverse as well. When we launch our own metaverse, so like I said, our current platform is Web 2. Our metaverse is currently in development. Maybe in the next few months, the day we launch, we would all be able to see each other's avatars and be able to interact like how we would interact in a physical event. So yes, you can form your own communities, but not a universe. I mean, universe is something that has some economic and some engagement rules, and that will be defined by the creator, right? So, and but we could have multiple metaverses, definitely. Facebook is building its own, Microsoft is building its own, we are building our own. There are many other metaverses who are that are being generated. You might have heard of Roblox, or yeah, so there are many metaverses that are being built, and based on the amount of engagement and activities it will be able to offer, you would want to spend more time in one or the other metaverse. It's not like, I mean, it's not just a 3D Google Meet. 3D Google Meet will be one of the engagement areas, or one of the engagement activities. Is it possible for someone to shift his restaurant to metaverse? Definitely, and I'll come to that shortly. How we are, planning to bring such places inside the metaverse. How to build metaverse? Well, there's a lot of things that goes inside building a metaverse. There's the blockchain layer. There's the 3D AR VR sort of a layer in place to build the interface. There's a server, right? There's a multi-user server in place which enables engagement between all the users in the metaverse in real time. So that's very, very important. And we'll come to that. Let's see how, what about interoperability between. Definitely, that's one of the key areas that I think every metaverse owner is currently working on. Eventually, we would want, that our metaverse, like the content that we have in our metaverse, or the people who we have in our metaverse, should be able to go to another metaverse. Interoperability is currently being worked upon. There are no standards that exist today, and like we have, so many standards for interoperability between different applications, we would have for metaverses as well. Why and how is metaverse limited and not infinite? If it's limited, how can I own digital land in metaverse? It is limited, and that's the only reason why you would want to own, land inside a metaverse. If it's infinite, you can never trust, right? Today, if I say that I have 100,000 square feet of land, and if I sell it, and you buy 10,000 square feet out of that, and you buy it, let's say for $1,000, how would you know that that would become that $1,000 will become $2,000 after a year? If it is infinite, then it might just go down. The moment I launch another 100,000 square feet, your land value becomes $500 rather than $1,000. So it has to be finite, and that is the only way it will have its own value. The more people would want to come and buy your land, or more interest people would want to show in your land, in buying your land, because they will be able to do something, then that something will depend on a lot of, like I said, that something depends on the metaverse creator. But that's the only reason why you somebody would want to buy, because it's limited. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's move on to the next slide first. Why metaverse is important, right? And I'll come to the other questions shortly. Why metaverse is important? So, very critical question. Today we have about 4.6 billion internet users, active internet users. Of those 4.6 billion, there are 2.6 billion gamers. So these gamers are the ones who are engaging with this kind of content on a daily basis, day in and day out. And of those 2.6 billion, 1.8 billion people, which include you and me as well, are aged between 18 and 45. These are what we call as the youth of metaverse as well, because they're the people who will spend maximum time, who would want to transact inside a metaverse, who would own some or the other part of the metaverse. I'm sure many of us here would have owned something in the crypto, or in the metaverse. Do we have any NFT creators here in our audience? Is there anyone who has created digital assets and sold it in any of the metaverse or any of the NFT? Um, is there any? Just create on OpenSea. Made but not sold any. Okay, my friends too. Yes, working on a few POCs on blockchain fungible token, but not an NFT. Okay, preparing to make money. Great. So let me how to create one. That's a good question. For those who do not know, right, what exactly happens, right, and how does it work? Just to help you understand, right. So if I am a creator and I believe that I can create some amazing, art or some amazing content that will be used by people, and that would be people would want to buy that eventually, right? So what I would do is I would basically bid to make an asset or make a content in the metaverse. So in order to do that, I actually first have to buy the rights to build something. Why I buy it? Because if I don't buy, and if I'm just able to create something and put it inside the metaverse, then everybody can do that and it becomes infinite, and that is the reason, that is something that we don't want. So we have limited number of, right, like Bitcoin, there are limited number of Bitcoins. Similarly, there are limited number of ETHs that are there. So I would buy some tokens to first build my content, and once I build the content, I will put it on sale. Now, because let's say I purchase it for 10 tokens, and I've sort of put it in the NFT marketplace. Now let's say Aisha here wants to buy that content, right? Now she sees, she likes it, and she says that, okay, I'm willing to pay 11 tokens for it. She buys it, and now she starts playing a game, and people start seeing that, okay, this is very exciting, it's a good content, I want to buy it further. And that's how trading would happen slowly, and that's how the value would start getting created for that particular NFT. And that's why you would want to build an NFT. So if you feel that you can create something very, very unique, which will have, which people would want to own, I think it's a great business model. I mean, creating NFTs is an awesome thing to do today. Let's move on. So we've understood the underlying layer. We've understood what metaverse is. But let's see, and I also see this see that question, that how does it help. There are many use cases, metaverse, right? But I want to stick today for the on the topic, which is metaverse for enterprises. That's what my core focus is. We can keep discussing on other areas as well, but yeah, let's not digress from the main topic, which is metaverse for enterprises. Now, if there are any people who are stakeholders in certain enterprises, this particular discussion is for them. And if you're a student, you eventually would want to join, you would be joining an enterprise. You might want to take this concept there, and you might want to start something in that organization as well. So it will be helpful from that perspective. So let's see, right? There are different use cases, how, and I am also limited with, my knowledge and what I do in my day-to-day life. And I could also learn from you. So if I miss out something, if you feel that there is something more that enterprises can do, let's have that on chat for everybody's knowledge as well. First and foremost, and what I'll do is I don't have a different slide for each use case, but I will speak about each use case on how it is going to be useful for an enterprise. I'll give an example. I'll try and give an example, and probably you'll be able to understand. The first and foremost is customer engagement, right? Today, if I am a customer, and if I want to talk to, let's say, a mutual fund company, right? Let's say I want to buy a mutual fund, and I go to a website, and I have these simple forms to create, enter my name, etc. And it's a boring interface for me. Okay, I write it because I have interest in buying a mutual fund, and then it publishes a list of mutual funds that I could buy. Help me, through text. I have to read, I have to put so much effort to really understand what a mutual fund is and which one is going to be useful. Now let's replace that experience with, you enter into a mutual fund office, a virtual office, like it's just like a game. You enter into office, you see an avatar of one of the customers representative, right? And that person greets you and asks you all the basic information. And then let's say, the other question for a mutual fund guy would be that, what is going to be your objective to buy a mutual fund, right? And everybody has different, but let's say if my objective is to, be able to buy a home in Goa, for instance, and that's my long-term goal, and that's why I want to buy mutual funds. And if that person, because he's inside a metaverse, if that person first engages me, and then suddenly, because I said Goa, he takes me off on a beach in Goa within the virtual world, and then explains me why I should invest in a certain mutual fund. What that did was that it sort of it engaged me to such a level that I cannot now think about this particular mutual fund when I go back, when I'm done with this entire engagement. So that's one of the use case. I am able to go, and I'm able to interact with somebody inside a virtual world. So another one would be, I want to go to, I want to build my website. I want to interact with a website development company. Right now, again, I do a phone call and engage with a company. But I don't know much about that company, right? What if I am able to go inside the virtual office of that company and meet more people through avatars, and go through maybe the kind of work that they have done on a virtual wall, and read more about their information, and they have these virtual representatives who are explaining me about the company. So that's how customer engagement would happen. Is there a person behind the avatar, or is it AI entity with the face of a human being? It could be both, and that's the value, right? That's the very interesting thing. I could be initially talking to an AI, and then suddenly it could be taken over by a real person also, depending upon what engagement is happening. How are we bringing intelligence to avatar, not the machine, for customer interactions? Many ways. It could be predefined, and then there could be a machine learning engine behind it that learns from a real person's conversation and continuously learning from it, and eventually becomes so intelligent that it could replace a human being. eventually. It's not going to be so simple. A lot of things have to happen, and a lot of technologies have to be a part of this. NLP has to be there, AI, ML, etc. But that's the possibility. Do we need VR equipments? No. It could be it could be on web itself. It can be, if you have a VR, it could be more immersive. Let's move on to the next use case, sales and marketing. So I am an auto company, right? As I've clearly shown, I'm an auto company, right? I am coming up with a new car. I have, let's say, we saw this in during the pandemic, right? I mean, and we as a company, we worked with Morris Garages, and we helped them build their virtual showrooms. And we saw that and we launched car during the pandemic, and there was no physical people were not coming to physical showrooms to purchase cars. They would rather come online, and they would see a car in virtual, and they would make a decision on purchasing that vehicle based on the features and like discussions that we have on the virtual event. Now, virtual can offer so many different ways to inform a customer on what exactly is the benefits or the features of a certain car, which I could not even do in a real world. If in a real world I have to sell a car, right, and each car usually would have 4, 5, 6 different variants. So I have to open a showroom which is big enough to have at least 6 different variants of a vehicle. And then if I have 2 or 3 different models of the car, then probably 18 different variants that I have to keep. So my showroom has to be so big, first of all, which usually is not the case. We would typically always have 1 or 2 variants or 1 or 2 colors. And that's where the virtual worlds come into play, and virtual worlds come as a savior. There's a car which is kept in a physical world, and it's only white in color. And what if I through my virtual world, I am able to also show the cars in other different colors or other different variants as well. And now that's the basic layer, right? We see a car, but then the value of metaverse is that what if there is also a person who's there's an avatar there who's also engaging with you, and helping you in purchasing that particular car. That's the metaverse layer on top of it. Let me take some questions. Could you please give more details on virtual showroom example? I mean, sorry. As an example, go and check out Morris Garage's car configurator, virtual, car configurator. You'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. But it's like how you go to a physical showroom. You'll be able to go to a virtual showroom, see the car from all the angles, go inside, see the features what there are, and actually make a decision on buying. While creating experiences, what is more costly, the required hardware, software, or the manpower? So if we're speaking from a enterprise perspective, it's never really about the cost. It's about the return on investment, right? Hardwares are costly, but they are they are one-time purchases. Software, again, they are in order to build a metaverse, you need at least, and especially if you have to build a blockchain metaverse, you need at least 14 or 15 different types of developers to build a true metaverse. You need a blockchain developer, you need 3D content guys, you need 3D programmers, you need backend guys, front end guys, project managers. So you need at least 15 different types of skills in order to build the true metaverse. So yes, it's going to be costly to make it, but at the same time, if it helps you engage 100,000 people within the same minute, imagine what value or what return on investment can bring. Typically, how much it costs to build one car virtual showroom, very variable. What you it depends on what you really want to do. You can send me an email if you have any specific details that you want to know, and we can work that out. Can you please type the website? Just search for Morris Garages or mgmotor.co.in is the website, and you can go and check out the car configurator. How it helps in marketing for customers? Will you build a car by just seeing the 3D? Will you buy a car? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. We were able to sell about 25,000 units of MG ZS EV when that car was launched. So yes, it's happening. People, I mean, you're buying mobile by seeing just an image on the website. You're buying clothes, you're buying shoes just by seeing images. Why would you not buy by seeing a 3D model of it? You would definitely buy because it offers more information about it. Anyone can build their metaverse if you have the right skills. Yes, you can. How the cost of NFTs fluctuate. I mean, who controls the flow price? Demand and supply controls the flow. The price of an NFT. If I build something, I had, like I said, if I have to build my own digital asset, first I have to, sell a certain number of, tokens. And let's say I sell 10 tokens to build my virtual avatar. And if you're willing to pay me 15 tokens for the same, that's how the price is managed. It is peer to peer. There's no central agency that controls it. It is built on certain rules, which is completely demand and supply driven. Okay, let me go to the next use case: advertisement. Now, the value of metaverse is that there's so many people who are there, right? I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of people who are coming and engaging in the metaverse in one way or another. It's a great way for companies to advertise inside, right? If I know there are 100,000 people coming and attending an event, why would I not want to advertise over there? And the best part of a metaverse, of a digital world, is everything is tracked. It's not like a billboard where you don't know exactly how much people actually come. It's like each activity is tracked, and we can exactly tell to the advertisers that 100,000 people came. They even, so we can also, because it's a digital world, we can also see where a person gazed at. So if we know that if a person gazed at something and spent 3 seconds to an advertisement, we will be able to provide that insight to the organization. It is absolutely, if it's a true metaverse, it has to be decentralized. Moving on, my next use case is maintenance and support. Now, this is typically more focused towards companies that have some equipment. It could be a refrigerator that you have at your home. It could be a TV, or it could be a machinery. Now, imagine, right? Your refrigerator is not working. Okay, and you're not able to fix it, and you don't have the user manual available. What if you could go to your refrigerator website, and then there's a virtual person who comes and greets you, and he asks you what model do you have, or he would either have that model loaded based on your email address, and then suddenly he opens up the same model in 3D in front of you, and based on what problem you're facing, let's say you're not able to turn on your this thing, that virtual avatar or virtual person will be able to exactly show you in 3D that these are the steps that you have to follow to turn it on. That's the value of a metaverse in maintenance and support. It is very, very valuable when it comes to heavy machinery or heavy equipments or even factory layouts. Imagine a whole factory. We have created a digital twin of that factory, and if there is a fault in any of the factory equipment, we could connect inside the digital world, and help the company or help the particular operator solve that issue. Microsoft HoloLens is one of the, again, interfaces. It's an augmented reality, or it's a mixed reality device for that matter. It is not a metaverse. Another use case is workforce training. Now, if you are inside a metaverse, right? If you are inside a virtual world, you can do classroom trainings. You could do product trainings. You could do hazard trainings. We do a lot of, at Digital Agents, we do a lot of trainings inside the metaverse, inside virtual world. I think we're short on time, so I'll be hurrying up a bit. Okay. So next one is employee engagement, and again, very, very important. If there's a whole world of people, and if people are coming inside, then it's also a great place to engage. We could have games inside the metaverse, and we could sort of have games in a way where these games are either private, which means that it is focused only for a company audience, or it could be public, which is it could be open for all of them. And companies, organizations will be able to leverage these games to engage their people. How to access metaverse? It can be accessed via web, AR, VR, mobile, and that's not really the thing. And one of the biggest use case for an enterprise is virtual and hybrid events. So this is something that have been most accepted use cases. Others are still being explored, but virtual and hybrid events are happening all around us. And I'm going to be speaking more of this in the next few slides. As I mentioned, Exposim is exactly the kind of metaverse that I spoke about. It's a decentralized open world events metaverse, where we would enable organizations to create events, organize those events, invite their people, engage with them, and then once a person comes inside that metaverse, they have 10 other things to do, right? So what we are building inside our metaverse is, there are event venues which are the central piece, right? Which is where people are going to come and their first engagement is going to happen. And then there are entertainment zones, and then there are shopping zones. So entertainment zones would include something like a theater, a virtual theater, right? Or a casino, or a gaming zone where I could just play and engage myself or compete with my friends. And then there are brand stores where I could go and shop and purchase certain things. Now, in a brand store, I could purchase a digital asset, or I could purchase a physical asset also, which is linked to my e-commerce. So the whole world becomes virtual, and then I'm also able to sell tangible assets or tangible physical products inside my metaverse. And that's what we are creating inside Exposim. In a Exposim metaverse, users will be able to learn and educate themselves through events, or which could be public or paid events. They will be able to entertain themselves through movies, theaters, games, shows, matches, and these could be all streamed, right? Imagine, like, one of you would want to buy a venue inside Exposim metaverse, and then we also give you ability to buy rights to broadcast India versus Pakistan match. Now, if you're the only cafe in that metaverse who can broadcast India versus Pakistan match, imagine all the users would want to come and sit inside your cafe to watch that match, and you can charge them that fees. That's how economy is created inside a metaverse. People will be able to earn by entering competitions, or by going to events. So each event has sponsors. Sponsors give a certain amount of money because they get a certain amount of eyeballs. Now that money is also distributed to all the visitors, or all the attendees of that event. That's how our economy in Exposim works. Or by taking participation in surveys. If I have 100,000 people in my metaverse, and if Maruti comes and tells me, give me a survey around which of my car is more useful for people, I can take that money from Maruti, and I can distribute it amongst my people, amongst the people who participate in those surveys. And then finally, to spend, right? Like I said, physical and virtual goods are something that they could sell. This is just a glimpse to, it's far more complex than what I have shown, but it's just a glimpse to show you, how economy works inside a metaverse, right? Especially inside Exposim metaverse. Like I said, each metaverse has their own system. So in Exposim, a user, as in we as Exposim, we will be selling land, and this land will be owned by some people. So these will be certain early adopters of our metaverse. They will buy a certain amount of land, and then they will be content creators. So these are basically our creator network. They will create their own digital content as NFTs, and they will sell it to landowners. Now, if I'm a landowner, I believe I would want to buy an event place. So I'll basically that I'll buy that land from I'll buy that venue from the content creator, and set it up. And then an event manager might want to come tomorrow, and he rents that event venue from me and does his own event or her own event. Then I could also build a store, and brands can come and rent those stores. Similarly, I can, build play zones, and maybe some individual or some business owner wants to, rent that, store, and create his own games, or create his own, cafes, etc. around. So that's how the selling and renting of things will be happening for the end user, right? For the end user, they get paid, or they get tokens for attending events. They get, entertained by paying to play zone areas, and interacting with new people, and they can purchase goods through from the stores. And that's how our world will become, a full unique virtual world, where people will be able to, as I mentioned, and learn, engage, entertain, and purchase stuff. You will be able to buy land in Exposim. I will just enter my email, our email ID. So you can send us some information there, if you, and we could reach out to you. And and the moment we launch our initial land offering, then we can reach out to you. And if you are interested, you can definitely purchase that. Yeah, so that's how I want to end my session. It's almost, it's just 3 minutes left. So happy to take up questions now. I mean, if I have missed something, you can just send me those questions, because it's a long list. How do you reach out to us? Let me see. If you're creating an app like FitXR on a subscription model, where content is provided to customer on a regular basis, how much does it cost? Maybe about Manvendra, that's a very, I would not want to get into those things right now. How is Metaverse useful for edtech? Many ways. Imagine, right? Imagine there is, if you're able to create a classroom, right, and if the classroom could be taken up by teachers, and these are individual teachers. Maybe a science teacher wants to come and take that classroom, and then he or she brings in people. And people, students are able to come. Maybe a class of 50 people can come and learn through them. Is there a metaverse fund that we can invest in? There are many. You can check it out. There are many funds available. Is there any scope of architects to design? Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Bhanu, great question. What one of the interesting things that we are doing is that when we start our content creator network, one of the first kinds of people we want to invite is architects, because that's what is going to make it unique, right? If me and you, and if we are like basic creators, and if our designs are not unique, why would anybody want to purchase that at a premium? So definitely architects will have their own, yes, they will be able to design buildings in the metaverse. Unmute, I don't know if that is, if there's something, it'll become, one second, can we raise hands or something? No, it's not a webinar format. Yeah, I mean, let's do it this way, because then it'll be too many people. If I'm sorry, if that's okay, I hope. Can people buy buildings as NFTs? Yes, they will be able to buy. Have few questions. How non-technical person explore career in metaverse? Non-technical person explore career in metaverse. Interesting. I mean, you would. I mean, what kind of non-technical are you? I mean, what domain are you from? And then maybe I'll be able to help you answer that. We can invest through crypto. It'll always be through crypto, because everything that happens inside a metaverse will happen through a cryptocurrency. Yes, like Stanford. What is the best technology coding language for Meta? Uh, I mean, again, many. I mean, you can start with something more abstract like a polygon, right, and that will help you quicken your process of building a metaverse, or building something. But you could also, I mean, you could also look into building your own blockchain, but that's a much more complex technology. It depends on you what career you want to choose. Do you want to build technology, which is the blockchain? Do you want to build a platform, which is like a metaverse, or do you want to build content, which are NFTs? So these are three pillars of how can you make a career or make a business in the this thing. No coding knowledge, is that okay? Then in that case, you'll have to choose a metaverse where, let's say if you are great in mathematics, and you can maybe take some place in a education metaverse, and you can start selling your courses over there. Yeah, Solidity is one of them. Yes. How can a doctor play a role in metaverse? See, doctors is something that is, a lot of people are still exploring. It's, that is more about human beings' health. So people don't want to play too much with that. Maybe initial diagnosis could happen, but I think eventually you will have to go and meet the doctor in physical. Consulting, yes, that's right. I mean, if you're not non-technical, then go into consulting. Loved your project. Thank you so much. I'd love to join as brand marketing consultant if you have a position. Sure, always. I'll just drop in my details, and then you can send us, information. Let me see, which email ID should I? You can drop in details on Mohit at Exposim. Yeah, yeah. Psychologists can be in the metaverse. They can be, yes. It is a very interesting thing. I mean, people can connect with somebody virtually, and they can see avatars, and it makes any in-game weapon can be an NFT. It can be, if it's unique, if it's scarce, then it can be. From non-technical person like me, psychologist, can we use computer? So, guys, I think it is time to wrap up. You have an art gallery. You can have your own virtual art gallery. You can come. You can send us a message. We can show you how you can have a virtual art gallery as well, and people will be able to purchase. So, thank you so much, everyone. I Let me just take last three questions. I mean, in 2 minutes, let's just take last three questions. Aman, let's connect on email, and then if we have to more, connect more, then we can just have you can just drop me a message after that. Any question that I have not answered? I think I've answered all. So thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll look forward to connect over email.